Today we're diving into a topic that most of us have struggled with at some point: procrastination. It's that sneaky habit that can hold us back from being productive. And we all know the feeling of leaving things until the last minute. So how do we tackle it?
Exactly. Procrastination can feel like a never-ending cycle, right? But what's interesting is that it's not just about being lazy. There's usually something deeper going on. The article we're looking at today, from Teamwork, talks about 7 ways to overcome procrastination. I think we should go through these and see what resonates with us the most.
I love that idea. The first point in the article talks about setting clear goals. Now, when I'm looking at a task without a clear end goal in mind, I find it so much harder to get started. How do you approach goal setting?
I totally get that. For me, it's all about breaking down larger projects into smaller, more manageable tasks. When the end goal feels too distant or vague, it can be overwhelming. But if I focus on small wins, say completing one task at a time, it becomes more motivating. Have you ever tried breaking down your tasks like that?
Definitely. I find it's way easier to focus on one small step rather than the big picture. But the next point the article mentions is about managing distractions. This is a huge one for me. Social media, notifications, even people talking in the background, it all eats into my focus. What's your strategy for staying on task?
I totally hear you. The distraction battle is real. I try to set designated distraction-free periods during the day. So I'll literally mute my phone or put it in another room. I also set a timer, usually 25 minutes of work, followed by a 5-minute break. It helps me stay focused because I know there's a reward coming up soon. How about you? Do you have a similar approach?
That's a great strategy. I've heard of the Pomodoro technique, and I've actually tried it before. It's crazy how productive I can be in just those 25-minute bursts. The next point in the article talks about the importance of finding your motivation. I know for me, it's easy to start a project if I'm genuinely interested in it, but when it's something less exciting, motivation can be harder to come by. Do you ever struggle with that?
For sure. It's like the difference between starting a creative project you're passionate about and tackling a boring administrative task. One of the things that helps me is tying the task back to a bigger purpose. If I can remind myself how this boring task is leading me closer to my larger goals, it helps me push through. Have you tried finding a bigger reason to do the task?
I love that idea. I think it's easy to get lost in the immediate discomfort of the task and forget why it matters in the long run. Another point the article raises is about using the 2-minute rule. If a task will take 2 minutes or less, just do it right away. I'm actually a big fan of this. It's amazing how many small things pile up when we keep putting them off.
Yes, that's a game changer. It's like these tiny tasks take up way more mental energy than they should when we leave them lingering. I've noticed that if I just knock out a couple of quick things early on, it sets a positive tone for the day. And it doesn't even feel like a big deal. So it's easy to get into the flow.
Exactly. It's the snowball effect. I also like how the article suggests getting started even if you don't feel ready. Sometimes I'm waiting for the perfect moment or the right mindset to get going. But it's often when I push through that initial hesitation that I actually get into the groove. Have you had moments like that?
Oh, absolutely. I think there's a lot of pressure to feel 100% ready or inspired. But in reality, the act of just starting is the most important part. Once I take that first step, the rest usually follows. It's almost like waiting for motivation to strike is a trap. What about tackling bigger, long-term procrastination habits? How do you break that cycle?
That's a tough one. I think the key is making the process more enjoyable. For me, if I can find a way to make the work feel less like a chore, whether it's adding music or finding a way to gamify it, I'm much more likely to stick with it. What's something you do to make tasks more fun?
I love the idea of gamifying things. I've done that with setting rewards. If I finish a major task, I'll treat myself to something small, like a favorite snack or a quick episode of a show. It makes the whole experience feel less like a grind. I also think celebrating small wins along the way keeps the momentum going.
That's a great point. The article also suggests eliminating the all or nothing mentality. I used to think that if I couldn't dedicate hours to a project, then it wasn't worth starting at all. But now I've learned that even 15 minutes can make a difference. It's about building consistency rather than expecting perfection. Does that resonate with you?
Definitely. I've fallen into that trap too, thinking that if I don't do it right or dedicate a full chunk of time, it's not worth doing. But I've realized that even small, consistent efforts can add up to big results. It's kind of like working out. Even a quick 15-minute workout is better than nothing.
Exactly. It's about progress, not perfection. So to sum up, we've talked about a bunch of ways to overcome procrastination, from setting clear goals and managing distractions to finding motivation and eliminating the all or nothing mindset. There's no one-size-fits-all approach, but these strategies can definitely make a difference. What's one thing you're going to implement today?
I think I'm going to really focus on getting started, even when I don't feel like it. Once I push past that initial resistance, I tend to find my flow. And of course, I'll keep using the 2-minute rule for those small tasks. How about you?
For me, I'll work on making tasks feel less intimidating by breaking them into smaller pieces. And maybe I'll try the Pomodoro technique again. I've always been surprised at how effective it is. Thanks for a great discussion today.
Absolutely. I think we've definitely got some practical takeaways here. I hope our listeners feel ready to tackle procrastination head on. Thanks for the great chat.